Hey guys, my name is Justin Boyd, and this is the Watchers in the Basement. And we're joining you today for what is a somber episode of our show. We're usually a pretty fun, uh, show to watch, but this is a tough one. 2020 has not been well. It's just been the worst year of my life, and I'm 40 years old now, so it's easily been the worst year of my 40 years, and it's been the worst year for a lot of people. And we've just had to kind of have a steady stream of bad news and bad things happening in the world. And that continued last Friday, August 28th, when we found out the shocking news that Black Panther star Chadwick Boseman had died of colon cancer. He had colon cancer for 4 years, 4-year battle with colon cancer, and eventually succumbed to that at the young age of 43. And I know that when I heard the news, like most people, I was completely just stunned. It was just a total gut punch. And, Black Panther, and he's meant a lot to the MCU, means a lot to a lot of people. It's a superhero that, there's a certain group of people in this country that are kind of marginalized that I think that character is kind of given some hope to. And for that character, for the actor, for that character to die, it's a tough day. And so we're just going to give our kind of thoughts on his passing, his legacy, and the Black Panther character in general. So I'm going to kick it over to my friend and co-host Brittany Pacheco. Brittany, talk about how you found out about the story and take it from there.
So the way that I found out about Chadwick's passing was through my husband John. He was in a separate room, and he kind of just burst open the door and said, Chadwick died. And I'm like, Chadwick, like as if, you know him personally. And I'm like, wait, are you talking about Chadwick Boseman? And he's like, yeah. And he has his phone in his hand. He's reading it. And I pull out my phone to see the notification from one of the local news stations here. And it said Chadwick Boseman, from Black Panther, passed away at the age of 43. And I was just in total disbelief. I mean, we're going to probably say that over and over again, myself, George, Frank, Nathan, and it's such a shock, obviously, because Chadwick Boseman chose to keep that part of his life very private. Earlier this year, if you all recall, with Kelly Preston, who is John Travolta's late wife, she passed from cancer as well, and they chose to keep it private. So it's really unfortunate because you more or less grow up with these celebrities and actors who make these movies that really mean something to you, and then just one day they're gone. And that takes a piece out of you. In my opinion, I feel it took a piece out of me. So yeah, that's how I found out, and of course I had to share it with the rest of the watchers here, because of what you just said, how much Chadwick Boseman, Black Panther means to the MCU. So I want to turn it over to my friend Frank Cooper. Frank, what were your thoughts?
You took the words right out of my mouth, Brittany. I think disbelief is the term that's going to be going around the rest of this podcast for today. Friday night, I was knocked out. I had shoulder surgery, so I'm sorry. No, Friday night when I found out, I was sleeping. I was knocked out. I had surgery on my shoulder, so I was in and out of sleep all night. So when I woke up around 11 o'clock that night, I went to my phone and had like 15 text messages, and like on my phone, like you can see like the headline on each text message, and it was either saying Chadwick or Black Panther or colon cancer. And I was like, nah, this can't be right. I'm thinking, I'm tripping. Like I think the painkillers are starting to get to me. So I opened it up, and then like the first text I saw was from George. And when I opened it up, it said that Chadwick had passed, and I just couldn't believe it. I'm like, man, it just be a hoax. It has to be a hoax. And when I Googled his name, CNN, TMZ, Fox News all said the same thing. Died at 43 of colon cancer. And I don't know if it was the meds or just me in general, but I instantly just shed the tears. Like I was just so distraught over seeing that headline. I mean, we've had black superhero movies before, but like they were black gimmick comedy movies. They weren't like actual serious superhero, black superhero led movies of a serious tone. And he was the first of that kind. So for him to shoot all these movies while battling this and nobody knowing, that shows tremendous courage in his own right. Like that takes tremendous mental fortitude and a work ethic that a lot of people don't have, and to do on top of while being sick, it just shows you the kind of man that he was, and he's gonna be greatly missed, not only just in Hollywood but just the world. Just a gentle soul.
George, what are your thoughts on what happened last Friday?
It was pretty shocking. I think it surprised everybody. And honestly, the first person I thought of was Frank. Like he was the first person I thought of. Like, because back when that movie came out, we did that skit. We were so excited to see that movie. And I think Frank was like the reason that he was just like very excited for it, and it got me excited. It got us excited, and I couldn't believe it. So I was trying to call Frank all night and just like talk to him, because I know it's huge news to hear this. But yeah, it's tragic, man. This year really sucks. But what Frank said, the courage they had to make these movies, the strength that you need to just like keep going and making movies while you're battling cancer is insane. Like he will forever be a legend. Like it's crazy.
Yeah, I think that if you look at his career, and we'll get more into that in a second, but he played all these like iconic roles. He played Jackie Robinson, and he played Thurgood Marshall, and he played James Brown, and then he played Black Panther. And it's like, he kind of became an icon himself, like in the end. And you're right, doing those movies, like those are, mentally and physically exhausting films to do, like those Black Panther and, the Avengers movies and Captain America Civil War and, all the other things he was doing. That's going to take a toll on a healthy person, much less someone who's battling cancer.
Definitely.
Of course, like in our age, like whenever you find out about this, immediately you see people on social media and stuff is just like flooding on there. And, like his family posted on his account. And I think that's what actually broke the story to everybody. And they had a really kind of touching post about his passing. And I know that was circulating on social media. I heard that that tweet was liked, like it's like about 8 million times. Apparently it's the most liked tweet in the history of Twitter. That's what I heard yesterday. So that's pretty incredible unto itself.
Yeah.
And then, there were other, I don't know if y'all saw this, but there was some stuff, and Nathan may have some images he can share with the audience, but there were these kids, and they were taking photos of like action figure funerals where they were taking their superhero action figures and like, lining up, Captain America and Iron Man and Hulk and all these characters, and then, standing over a fallen Black Panther. And that, that's where, it really kind of touches you, because it's like, for kids, like that's, for me, like I said, I'm 40 years old, and it hit me like a ton of bricks on Friday. But for a little kid, like that's, like especially this hero that just kind of came onto the scene the last few years, that's a huge loss. I mean, to me, it'd be like when I grew up, like Christopher Reeve was Superman. And I can't imagine if Superman had died when I was like 8 years old. I think that would be pretty devastating. But it's, you see a lot of stuff on social media, like I said, from co-stars and fellow celebrities. And I think, Brittany, there's something you want to talk about.
I do.
Really, it's kind of how he got his start in the business. So,
yes.
So take it away.
Yeah, thanks, Justin. So what I kind of wanted to briefly touch on was the statement that Chadwick had had shared when Denzel Washington was being honored. And he made the very, very profound statement of there would be no Black Panther without Denzel Washington. And what Chadwick was referring to, for those who may not be aware of this, is that when Chadwick was going to school to Howard University, and that's like a top notch, school. Period. Right. We've got colleague friend who's been there, and I mean that's what's up, right? So for Chadwick to have the opportunity to go to Howard, and it's a great opportunity. But like everyone else who goes to school, finances are always going to be a big factor. And so Chadwick was very, very honored to have had Denzel Washington pay for his summer tuition. And that, is huge, because that could have, changed. I mean, that obviously did change Chadwick's life, for him to ultimately graduate and then become an actor and pursue, the career that he has, obviously. But also, while still at Howard, Chadwick Boseman was also an escort for Angela Bassett when she was being honored, receiving an honorary degree from Howard University. And so her statement on social media about how, she and Chadwick were always meant to be, in the sense that there was this connection starting from all the way back to Howard, how they would sit in the makeup chairs, and he reminded, shared that story with her and said, I was your escort when you were being honored at Howard, and here we are today. Now they're going to play mother and son. And so her tribute to him was so touching. I'm trying really hard not to get emotional right now, but this is, for someone who doesn't know him personally, right? So I can only imagine what it must feel like for his family. The news also broke that he got married just right before he passed. There's not a whole lot of details about that, but just, what his family is going through, and his colleagues and friends, and, everyone else. So I really wanted to share that with the rest of our audience about how Chadwick was so very honored to have had Denzel be a part of his life early on, as well as Angela Bassett, because those two individuals are legends, on their own. And now Chadwick is amongst those legends. So, yeah.
And I think you mentioned a little bit about how he was going through these cancer treatments for 4 years, and it seems like, I've done a lot of research looking through social media and just looking up stuff, and I don't think that it seems like no one really knew. I'm sure his family knew, but I don't think anybody that he, like his co-stars, that really knew. It seems like Ryan Coogler, who is the writer and director of Black Panther, he had somewhat of an idea. I don't think he knew how severe the cancer was, or whatever his issues were, but it's just really, it's kind of unbelievable. It's almost like a superhero, the fact that he could do all the stuff he did, and then he kept that private, because if any of us had cancer of any sort, all of us would know. How could you not tell people, just because, you tell people just because you want to complain about having cancer, because that sucks, but he kind of persevered even through something as terrible as cancer. So that really says a lot about him, I think, as a person.
Yeah, I don't think any of
Go
his
ahead.
coworkers knew, Justin. I don't think any of his coworkers knew, because I read an article this morning. Kevin Feige didn't know until the day he died. Like, he got an email that said, said something about Chadwick Boseman, but he didn't get a chance to open it to like 4 or 5 hours before Chadwick actually passed away. So if Ryan Coogler knew, that's awesome, because the president of Marvel had no idea. And not to say that he wouldn't have casted him regardless if he did know, but I just find it interesting how he really kept that under wraps, and to go back and forth, cancer treatments and chemotherapy. That's very taxing on the body, and to be able to keep that under wraps, and nobody really know about it, is just a testament to how private of a man and his character as well. So,
Not just that, Frank, but from what I read, Chadwick also went through surgeries to try and treat and beat this cancer. So the very idea that he was diagnosed around the time, let's say, that he was going to be cast for Black Panther. And one thing I also want to mention real quick, and then I'll turn it over to George. There was an interview that has been circulating recently of Chadwick talking about kids who have cancer, terminal cancer, and what they were telling him, oh, I'm going to try to hold on so I can see Black Panther. So, and you can see Chadwick get very emotional because it now all makes sense. He himself was going through the cancer and the treatment, and what it meant to have these kids look up to him and say, I want to hold on so I can see you be Black Panther. Like that had to give him so much more of an incentive to, work not just for his career, but to try and beat the cancer. That way he could be that hero to these kids.
Yeah, I did see that video, Brittany, that you were talking about with him with the kids and everything, and I'm sure those kids definitely inspired him to keep pushing, keep doing what he was doing, and just know that he's doing it for them. He's doing it for everybody. He's giving them hope, like even though they're giving him hope at the same time. But another thing that I had mentioned with Justin is that I noticed but didn't notice like that he had lost a lot of weight, and it was during the NBA the dunk contest of this year. And I didn't think anything of it. I was just like, oh, it was probably like for a role or something. And now it makes so much more sense. It's crazy. But yeah, I don't know if Frank or Justin noticed that from
yeah,
that.
Chadwick Boseman was he was a dunk contest judge. I couldn't think of the word. He was a judge for the dunk contest this past year in February, the All-Star Game in Chicago, and I did notice that, and I thought, man, he's lost a lot of weight. But I like what you said, George. I thought it was for a movie role because, like, we see actors, bulk up or lose a lot of weight all the time for these roles, and he was definitely the kind of actor who would be committed to whatever the role called for. So if it called for you to lose 40 pounds or whatever, that's what he was going to do. And so I thought really nothing of it besides, I just like, I remember, I think we talked about it. I'm like, if you ever like get in superhero shape, like I would want to kind of stay in superhero shape because it looks cool. If you could look like Black Panther or Captain America all the time, I mean, if you can look like a literal action figure, look like an action figure because that's awesome. Because not looking like an action figure is not as awesome. But yeah, I definitely noticed that too. And it's so crazy because that was only like 6 months ago. That was in February, or 7 months ago now.
Let that be a reminder that appearance, obviously, especially for celebrities, because we, the people who are non-celebrities, tend to hold those in a higher regard. And so when you do start seeing them lose weight or their appearance changes, and people are quick to judge, and you don't know what's going on privately, obviously, and this is a testament to that. So I know I've seen it a lot on social media that this needs to be a reminder to everyone to be kind. You don't know everyone's situation. I mean, I'm going to pick on Frank a little bit. He told us, hey, I'm going to have surgery for my shoulder, but he could have chose not to say anything and deal with that privately. But to each their own, obviously. But one thing needs to stay constant, and that's to just be kind to one another, no matter what.
Yeah. I mean, and on top of that, it's just a harsh reminder too that cancer does not discriminate. It doesn't matter how much money you have, how endowed your resources are. This is a deadly illness, man. That has just ripped away family members and loved ones from each other, and it's just a constant reminder that you never know when it's your time. And I think with Chadwick, I mean, when he got diagnosed, he was probably thinking, you know what, I'm gonna live out my dream of being an actor and trying to touch as many people as possible. And I'm not gonna let this illness, stop me from doing that. And I can't imagine what he was going through as a person, and his family members as well, his loved ones too. But yeah, man, just that cancer ain't nothing to play with, man. It's really not. So we gotta think, be grateful what we have and treat life every single day is as precious as the last day, as yesterday, you know, so.
Amen. I mean, that's just very true. Y'all, let's talk about Chadwick's career, because obviously, while he was here with us on this, he shared his time and talent with the rest of the world, and some of these iconic roles, as Justin had mentioned earlier, was that of Jackie Robinson in the movie 42. And ironically enough, August 28th was Jackie Robinson Day. And so the very fact that Chadwick passed on that same day is just crazy. George, what are your thoughts on that?
I didn't know that until I saw like all the baseball posts. I was like, wait, today was Jackie Robinson Day. And I was like, wow, he played Jackie Robinson. Like, this is crazy. And I don't know, there's just little things like that happen in the universe are pretty crazy to me. But I don't know, talking about roles, I just saw his movie yesterday that I've been telling you I've been wanting to watch, the 21 Bridges. I just saw it last night, and it's not like his greatest role, but it was a good movie to me. Like, it had a twist, and at the end I did not see coming. It's pretty good. You guys should check it out. I definitely check it out. It's on Showtime.
Nice.
Yeah, I need to check that one out. I remember seeing the trailer, because also what was cool about that 21 Bridges movie is I think it's made by the same directors that did Endgame, Avengers Endgame and Infinity War. I'm pretty sure it's the same people.
Wow.
It's a brother group. I can't think of their name.
The Russo brothers.
The Russo brothers, yeah. I'm pretty sure they worked on the movie with Chadwick Boseman. So that's kind of a cool tie-in. But so we're obviously going to talk a lot about Black Panther and the Avengers stuff, but like, I've seen 42. I thought 42 was really good. I thought it was a really good portrayal of Jackie Robinson. And just watching the clips the last few days again, like, he really kind of did a good job of embodying Jackie Robinson. Where, like, because I think with movies, when you do a biopic, there's kind of a pressure where you kind of want to look like the person, but you want, like, more importantly, you want to kind of give off that persona of the person. And he definitely did that. And, like, I did not see Get On Up. That's the movie where he played James Brown. But if you watch the clips, he definitely personified James Brown, which I think is very difficult because James Brown is a very unique looking person. Like, not many people are going to look like James Brown. You know what I mean? Like, he's like, you see James Brown, you know that's James Brown. There's not a lot of people can kind of look like him. So the fact that Chadwick did not look like him at all, but he still personified him, that shows his acting chops. And Frank and George, are any of his other movies that y'all have seen or that you want to talk about?
I did see Get On Up about a year ago, and I watched it on. I think I watched it online. And after the movie, it talked about him prepping for the role, and he was talking to James Brown's daughter. So he did about like 5 or 6 hours of like choreograph every day for like 6 months, and then after that, he'll go to James Brown's daughter's house, watch all it takes of James Brown. The man, all the dance moves you saw in that movie, that wasn't stunt double, that was him. He studied all the dance moves. He studied like James Brown's demeanor, his diction, how he said words. He really enthralled himself into that role, and he took it very serious. And I remember he did an interview on Breakfast Club about 2 years ago, doing press for Black Panther, and he said that if I walk out of a set and I don't feel that I'm that person within that set and during that scene, then I didn't do my job. And like, he's one of those guys that really, really enthralled himself and really just encompassed that role and whatever he did, whether it was a fictional character or a biopic. And that's just a mark of a great actor.
I think sorry, Justin. I think that's what they refer to as like a method actor, someone who really stays dedicated to their character, whether they're on screen or not. Because I know there's a lot of actors. I think Christian Bale is one of them, for example, when he does press for movies. One specifically that stands out because it was very distinct accent was for the movie Public Enemies with Johnny Depp, and Christian Bale's character plays an FBI agent from South Carolina with a very heavy Southern accent. if, as we all know, Christian Bale is Welsh and he has more of an English accent. So to stay dedicated to his character as he's doing press interviews as himself, that speaks volumes. So to hear that about Chadwick, because I too have not seen Get On Up, and James Brown is just so iconic. Like you said, the moves, the diction, everything about James Brown is just legend. So I definitely have to, check out Get On Up and see Chadwick's portrayal.
And more on that movie, I was listening to a podcast yesterday with a New York Times reporter he was on the set. He was covering that movie. And Mick Jagger, the Rolling Stones lead singer, he's an executive producer on the movie or something. Anyway, the reporter was talking to Mick Jagger, and he said, asked him about the movie and everything. And at the time, Chadwick Boseman was not a name actor. He was a working actor for sure, but he wasn't a superstar by any means. And the reporter said that Mick Jagger pointed to Chadwick Boseman. He said, that guy's going to be a star. And so that's kind of a cool little, story that, one of the more famous people in the world recognized his kind of star power at an early age. So he made, several other movies. Like I said, he was in Thurgood. He's in Marshall, which is the Thurgood Marshall story. He was in a movie with a Spike Lee movie called The Five Bloods. It's on Netflix.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
Yeah, Georgia. Okay, tell us about that movie. I have not seen that one either.
So basically, that movie is like. Did you watch that one, Frank? I don't know if you got a chance to check that one out. I think I told you to.
You told me to, but I haven't checked it out yet. I definitely will this week, though.
Okay, so that one's on Netflix. It was a Netflix original movie, and basically it's about like five friends that like grew up together. They went to the war in Vietnam together, right? And they go to the war out there, and basically they're going to recover like a treasure that they found back then, but one of their friends had died, and they're trying to go like honor him and like try and find that treasure that they buried deep in the jungles of Vietnam. So basically they go through a lot of stuff to get there and trying to find it. But it's a really good movie. But Chadwick doesn't have a main role in the movie. Like he's just like he's the friend that died. So he's just in the flashbacks of the roles, like when they were all younger. But it's a really good movie. You guys should check it out.
Okay.
Definitely.
And I believe it's a movie that just came out this year, right? Or was it late last year? It's pretty new.
It was this year.
Yeah, this year. Yeah. So I mean, it's one of the last movies we'll see him in. Although there's a couple other movies that are coming out where he's in the movie. So he did a lot of work while he had colon cancer. I mean, it's pretty amazing how much time was spent on movie sets.
Yeah, just the physicality behind it all, especially especially with the MCU, it seems like it's back to back to back to back, because we first saw the Black Panther character in Captain America's Civil War, and then in 2018 we saw the solo Black Panther movie, and then it was in Avengers Infinity War thereafter, and then of course Endgame thereafter. So the fact that it was like nonstop, and just like I said, the physicality for him to have to go, let's say, to the gym and to work out, and then have to probably go to chemo or do surgeries, or all of that. I mean, that has to take a toll on your psyche, of course, and for him to just have that determination to do what he was going to do with whatever time he still had left here. It just speaks volumes. Like the word strong to me doesn't even do it justice. I mean, I don't know. What are your thoughts, Frank?
No, I mean, it's he the man had the Infinity Gauntlet. I mean, to do all of that is and make no mistakes. I don't know if you guys know, he was shooting Black Panther and Infinity War at the same time.
Yeah,
these movies over, like he shot them at the same time. So it wasn't like he had time off and then went to go shoot Infinity War. No, he shot it simultaneously. So, yeah, I mean, the amount of work that he put in in a 4-year span it's amazing. It's Hall of Fame level. I don't know how he did it. And like you said, Brittany, to to maintain, top physical form. I mean, he put on pounds for that for Black Panther. He got shredded for that role. I'm sure for 42 as well, and James Brown. Like these are different roles that you have to be in shape for. So for him to do what he did is just it's amazing. I mean, the man's work ethic is unparalleled.
Yeah, with I think now we should probably talk about Black Panther because it was such a huge cultural phenomenon when it came out in 2018. But I just want to point out real quickly, if you look at his time in the MCU, he was only in 4 movies, but all of those movies, Black Panther plays a huge role in those movies. Like from his introduction in Civil War to obviously the solo film, which was a huge success, to in Infinity War. Like I think a lot of us saw that movie together one time. One of the times we saw it, and like his death in that movie, like his character's death in that movie was crazy. Like that's especially coming off the heels of the success of Black Panther, and then with in Endgame, I think it's kind of telling. There's the one scene at the very end of Endgame where Black Panther, Spider-Man, and Captain Marvel all kind of hand off the gauntlet, and it was like they're running away from Thanos. And I don't think that was a coincidence. Like that's on purpose. Like I think that like those 3 characters were gonna be the next 3 kind of leaders of the Avengers. So I think Black Panther had a huge role in the future of the MCU. But before we get to that, I really want to focus some time on the movie Black Panther itself, and I want to talk to Frank about this because Frank, just tell me, what does Black Panther, what does that movie and that character mean to you? And just tell us about like your memories of going to see that movie. I know you saw it many times, and just what that was like back in February of 2018.
Oh man, you got me cry. When I first heard the news that they're doing a Black Panther movie, this was Comic-Con 2016. Yeah, because Civil War just came out, and Feige was talking about how Civil War was going to be the introduction of T'Challa, and then they had plans to do a Black Panther movie, but they didn't say when. So in 2017 at Comic-Con, when they rolled out the whole cast, Chadwick and Letitia Wright and Angela Bassett and Mr. Whitaker, I teared up because like he had always been a fan favorite of mine. Him, Wolverine, Storm, Night Thrasher, two of my 4 favorite characters in Marvel history are Black. So for myself, I never thought I'd see a Black-led solo superhero movie, especially one produced by Marvel and Walt Disney. Like that was shocking me because for years, mainstream Hollywood demonstrated and says that black folks or Black leads can't sell out globally, and that had been the ongoing argument for years from Hollywood, So when the plans came down that they're doing a movie, I was giddy because this is 33 years in the making for me, So come premiere night, I went to my closet. I brought my African garb, and I made, y'all knew I made a video about it, about how excited I was about Black Panther. But that was real life. That wasn't a joke. I was really that excited because I never thought in my lifetime that I would get to see a Black-led superhero movie produced by a major movie production and company in Disney. So seeing that, man, and seeing my childhood, it took me back to my childhood and having the action figures and reading the comic books. So Chadwick broke history, not just for Marvel, but I think for superheroes and just in general.
And just if you could talk about what it was like to go see that movie and how many times did you see it exactly? I know you saw it many times.
Yeah, I saw it 12 times in theaters.
That's a lot.
12 times, and then I took 30 kids from the YMCA as well to go see it. 30 Black and Brown Kids as well, because I really wanted them to see what a hero looked like that looked like them. So many times, and don't get me wrong, I love Marvel. I mean, y'all know my love for Marvel, Captain America, Wolverine, Iron Man. I love them, but unfortunately, we don't really shed light on Black characters, and especially we don't have Black character-led movies. So the first time I saw it, I shed a tear. I was just so excited, like I couldn't believe this was happening. Had the movie been bad, I would have like bat for it just because it was a first of its kind. Thank God it was good, but it was very humbling and surreal to see Chadwick Boseman don that black suit on screen in a solo movie, and it's something that I will never forget. I'll never forget where I was when I saw Black Panther. I'll never forget when Obama became president. Those are two major moments in my life that I'll never forget as a Black man.
Yeah, that's for sure. I mean, I know like one of the times like we all went together and saw Black Panther. Several of us went and saw that, and that was a fun experience. I think when it first came out, the first weekend, I think they gave away comic books also. Do you remember that? They gave away like a Black Panther comic book. Yeah,
they did. Yeah.
George, you got one?
Yeah, I have one of the. I think I gave one to Frank.
Yeah, I have it.
Yeah, I got an extra copy just for Frank because I got it the first day that I went to the theater, and they were giving out like you had to buy the like the special type of screening or whatever that they have. The
THX.
Those that's what it's called.
Oh.
The THX. So you have to pay to watch it there. And man, that was an incredible experience, by the way. If you haven't seen a movie on there, you should definitely check it out. But they gave out these really cool, like first edition comic books, like made for AMC in the movie Black Panther. And I thought of Frank, so I ended up getting like 2 copies so I can give him one.
Yeah, because like you saw that Wednesday, right? You saw it early.
I saw it early.
Yeah, you saw it. Huh?
I saw it like early that night, and then I saw it, I think 3 more times after that. Once with the audience, 2 more times with my family. Yeah,
because I saw that Thursday because I got jealous. I'm like, how in the hell did you get tickets for a Wednesday show and it was coming to Friday? I was so jealous. But yeah, I saw that. I saw the day after you saw it.
Yeah, us seeing it together was a fun experience. Just the shock and awe, basically, because I'm trying to think, Frank, as you were talking about like Black-led movies, they don't sell out globally. I know a lot of the times of the movies that I've seen that have Black leads deal with the very kind of stereotypical type of genres. And while those movies in their own respect are good, for the audience to see a Black man who is a king and who's like a vigilante, if you will, right? He's this incredible superhero who's taken on this mantle, and then in the movie obviously comes to realize that the way of life that they lived, while it's fine, they can do more. And so I think seeing that change, that storytelling from the stereotypical stories that we've seen, this was incredible for kids, because you talked about the kids that you took, for them to see a more positive spin on being a minority, and because we were so excited about seeing Black Panther, before we were podcasters, we were actors. And so we've got a little short, almost 2-minute video of a Black Panther parody that we've done, and we'd like to share it with our audience at this time.
So we all know the movie Black Panther's in theaters today, and we're all excited to see it. But Frank over there is taking a little bit too far.
Choke slam. What are you doing? Get out of here, you Wakanda invader. What are you doing? Huh?
mean, I thought I was excited for this movie. I mean, I bought my tickets like a month ago. But Frank, he's taken to another level.
Hey Frank, have you started working on that social media assignment yet? What is
Frank
this?
playing with the action figures.
It's Casual Friday. You know I change my scarves every Friday.
Okay.
Wakanda forever!
Hey, sorry, I'm late.
Brother, what are you doing?
Can I sit here?
This is Chakala's seat. The Black Panther figurine has been in my family for generations.
Dude, you got it at Walmart yesterday. Sit somewhere else.
Thank you.
You know what makes it really weird? He keeps quoting the same lines from the trailer.
Justin, Chakala and myself are going to get lunch. Would you like to attend?
Oh, no, I'm good. But you should take a jacket. It's cold out there.
We never freeze.
Yeah, that was fun to do. I mean, we always have a good time, of course, coming up with like a story, just little fun little parodies. I think this was the first time we even did it like the Office style kind of shoot. But Frank, if you notice the progression with with him playing with the little action figures, and then next thing you see him in the daishiki and and then you hear him in the meeting with the accent of, I'm not even gonna try it because I'm just not. But quoting the very famous line, we never freeze. Frank. Well, good times.
Yeah, I mean, if our job was 9% that, I would put on a video every single day of my life.
The meeting with the accent of, I'm not even.
Yeah, it was one of those things where it just kind of just came together perfectly. Like, I think I wrote a skeleton to it, and then with your guys' input, it made it that much more. It made it that much more better, and it became a beautiful project, and it's one of our highest viewed videos on HCC. So yeah, man, shout out to all y'all. Y'all make that possible.
It was so much fun to do that. Like Brittany said, it was like the first like Office style video we did. And I think we really kind of nailed it. I mean, it was really well done. I think the part where George, like we go to George and he's like the straight person, like, telling the story or whatever, like it's playing the straight man. And they're like, it's really funny stuff. It's, I don't know. I wish we could do more of that stuff, honestly. That looking at the camera and telling the story while it's happening. But back to Black Panther, and I think we'll kind of start wrapping up on this. What do y'all think is next for Black Panther? I mean, I guess what I'm trying to say is, right now, obviously, he just died recently, so it's obviously what happens with the character does not really matter right now. But I do think that like the impact his character had in such a short time is the reason why I think we should talk about this, because I think it's it was such a big character that I think it's natural for people to think about what's next with that character. It's just like with your favorite sports team. If the best player on your team, suffers a career-ending injury or something, you're automatically gonna think, well, who's the next guy who's going to be my favorite player? Who's the next starting quarterback of my favorite team or whatever? And obviously that's so trivial compared to losing life, but I do think that's the way people think. We think about what's next. And for this character, we'll just go around the room, and I just wonder, what do y'all think Marvel will do? Will they find someone to continue the T'Challa character as the Black Panther? Because after all, Black Panther is a mantle that a person takes on. And T'Challa wasn't the only Black Panther. There was another Black Panther. I mean, his father was the Black Panther before that. In the comics, who knows? There may be other Black Panthers. I'm not super up on that stuff. Do you think that they'll just continue T'Challa with another actor? Perhaps someone, and I've read stuff, maybe John David Washington. That he has Tenet coming out. Could he be Black Panther? Will they give the mantle to another character like Shuri? Obviously, that's Shuri is T'Challa's sister, or like M'Baku, who almost defeated Black Panther in their battle in the movie. What do y'all think they're going to do? I'll start off with Frank because I know you know more about this than all of us combined. But I guess what I'll ask you, Frank, is what do you want Marvel to do, and what do you think they will do?
What I want them to do is give it to Shuri, give it to Letitia Wright's character. In the comic books, in the Ta-Nehisi Coates adaptation, T'Challa was comatose, and Shuri became the next Black Panther during this story arc. That would make sense, but because Chadwick has such a short life, I don't know if that story will carry over as well, because I don't know if that story will be received as well because it was so quick. With Chadwick passing, his untimely death. I would say cast another person, but it's gonna be incredibly tough to fill those shoes because so many people have seen Chadwick play this character, mesmerize, and impress, not just Black folks, but like fans all over the Marvel world. So it's going to be really, really tough and unfair for that next person to try to take on that mantle as far as recasting that character. I would think Shuri probably be the best go-to, since that is his sister and she was so well received and she was a hit in that movie. But I mean, they have essentially 2 years because it was supposed to come out 2022. So they may push it back, they may keep it as is, but I would like to see Shuri as the next Black Panther.
Okay, George, what do you think? What should they do with the character?
What would I like to see?
What would you like to see?
I'd like to see. I don't know. I want them to take the Infinity Stones and bring back Killmonger, and he can be Black Panther or something. But what I think is going to happen is what Frank said. I think Shuri will become a Black Panther. Or I wouldn't mind seeing M'Baku as Black Panther too. Like they gave him a lot of I don't know, like a lot of parts, like major parts in the role, and like he came back in the Infinity War, like the movies and everything. He fought along beside them. So I think he would be a good character to take over as well.
I would say David Kaluuya will be a good replacement, but he plays a different character in the Black Panther series. The guy from Get Out, he'll be perfect as Black Panther, but I don't know. I don't know if they'll be able to transition his character or phase out his character. Well, I guess they could, because Chris Evans was Human Torch. It's Fox Marvel, but it was still Marvel, and he became Captain America. So I don't know. It's just going to be very, very tough to replace him with another male actor after the tremendous work he's done as Black Panther. Speaking of Chadwick, so.
Yeah, I have to agree with what Frank and George are saying, because I did see it on social media saying this, and I'll read it out really quickly. Dear Marvel, please don't replace Chadwick as T'Challa. Have Letitia Wright as Shuri take up the mantle so that Black girls can feel the same way the boys felt in 2018. Wakanda would want that, and I think it would make Chadwick smile. And so it does, to me, make sense, because like Frank has already stated, she was so well received in the movie. You saw just the great brother-sister relationship the two had. Shuri is brilliant. Obviously, she is very tech savvy and always trying to figure out a way to make something better. And so I think it would be appropriate, just in my opinion, I think it would be appropriate, and it makes sense to obviously have her ascend to that position of being the next Black Panther. Will Marvel and Disney do that? Chances are they won't, but I think if the public really, kind of voices their thoughts on this, they might be swayed, because now we're in a day and age where people are really using their voices to make things right. And so I'm hoping they'll do the right thing, and instead of trying to bring in someone and that added pressure of, okay, can you live up to Chadwick's performance, let's use what we have and elevate her, Shuri, as a character and as a future superhero, as Black Panther. I think that would be awesome to do.
And then on top of that, Brittany, it really, if you make her like Black Panther, it keeps up the storyline of how the women of Wakanda are strong, they're independent,
Absolutely.
They're not under distress. You keep that storyline, so I think that's very, very important. That moment.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I rewatched Black Panther recently, just because you have to. And Okoye, man, she is so badass. Like, just what she does, and even Nakia in her own respect, she is badass because while she loves her country, she also wants to serve, but in a different way. She wants to help others, obviously. So I think any one of those women who could take on the mantle of Black Panther, let's say, would definitely put a positive, spin on such a horrible situation, losing someone so young who was really bringing that character to light. And I think it'd be great. But one of the things too, before we sign off, I want to say it'd be great if, because obviously we're in COVID, some movie theaters are slowly opening up again. It'd be great if Black Panther was re-released in the theaters, and all proceeds to view it would go to colon cancer research. That'd be really awesome.
That'd be so dope.
I think it has been re-released in some markets, but well before his passing. I think it was one of the movies that they were trying to get people to come see, get people to the theaters. But I agree with y'all. I think Shuri makes the most sense as far as the next Black Panther. The one thing I would say though that might be a reason against that is because I know, like with Thor, the next Thor I believe is going to have a female Thor.
Yeah.
And then we have Captain Marvel is going to have her movies, and I think that I don't know if they want to go so female heavy with superhero genre. You know what I mean? Like I think they want to try to balance it. I mean, obviously it's been out of balance forever, but I think that's based on who goes and sees these movies and the audience for this stuff. But
I think what Frank had said, it would go along with the storyline in the comics if
right.
Black Panther in the comics was in a comatose state, and then Shuri takes up the mantle. I mean, that storyline could be fed into the movies, and therefore give an explanation as to why there's no T'Challa, there's now Shuri.
And I think that's probably the most likely thing. Although the MCU has showed us that they don't always follow the comics; they kind of create their own thing. And I do think that regardless of whatever Marvel does, I think Marvel has kind of shown us that they're we can trust them. They'll make a good decision. But actually, George kind of stole my thunder. That's what I was going to say. I was hoping that Killmonger could somehow come back and be Black Panther. I don't know, it wouldn't make sense really, but Michael B. Jordan in that movie in Black Panther, he was such a good villain. He was such a likable villain because before what's that?
I said I was rooting for him.
Yeah, and honestly, because I rewatched Black Panther on Monday. Like until he becomes the king and it has the power and kind of the power goes to his head,
yes.
Like he has a really good case for like he's not really wrong. Like I think T'Challa is trying to like preserve kind of his father's legacy and do what they've always done, whereas Killmonger kind of has like, hey, we have all this resources and technology, and we could save so many people like us that that are dying and that are in impoverished situations. And so, I mean, they both kind of had their own, leg to stand on, so to speak. But I just thought he was, for a single movie, Michael B. Jordan's Killmonger is the best villain in the MCU. I think that Thanos is the best villain overall, but that's kind of not fair because he was built up to be the main big bad, like it was the Infinity Saga led to him. So it's not necessarily a fair fair battle. But I'd love to see that happen somehow. Obviously, Michael B. Jordan and Chadwick Boseman were very close. I know Michael B. Jordan, he put out a statement on social media, I believe it was yesterday. And before that, people were wondering, like, what was going on. And he basically was saying that he was too distraught to even like come up with a message. So, and obviously Ryan Coogler is going to be back for Black Panther 2. Ryan Coogler is going to write and direct that movie just like he did the first one. He's tight with Michael B. Jordan, obviously, from Black Panther and from the Creed series. Right. Yeah, Fruitvale Station too. I mean, if somehow they could make it work, I think that would be awesome too. But they definitely have a lot of good options. And even if they decide like maybe there's a new heir to the throne that we're not aware of, I believe Marvel could pull it off, regardless of which way they go. I don't think it'll be like a DC thing where, I don't think we're going to find out that Black Panther and Killmonger's mother was both named Martha or something. I don't think that's going to happen with the MCU. I think they'll figure out a smart way to make it work. But I mean, I had to say something. I had to say something funny because it's been such a bummer. Like, honestly, like, it's kind of like with Kobe, him dying. I mean, obviously Kobe was in my life. It seems like my whole life, but definitely because he's only like a year or two older than me. So I knew who Kobe Bryant was since he was like 16 years old. So like that really, when he died in that crash, like that really bothered me. Still when I think about it, it bothers me. But it, like for a couple of weeks, like every time I would see stuff about him, like I would kind of get emotional because like, like I love sports and obviously, Kobe was one of the greatest athletes ever. And so that, that kind of, there's that kind of pull with me and him. But with Black Panther, it's such a new character. And like, I think I'm more just like really bummed out because like what could have been with that character. Cause like the beginning of it was so awesome. And like, I mean, I think he was going to be the lead Avenger. I think him and Spider-Man with Captain Marvel were going to lead the Avengers in this whole new kind of whatever the next Infinity Saga storyline is. And for that to be dashed, I mean, obviously the loss of human life is way more important than superhero stories, but it's definitely a bummer. And this has been a sad week for a lot of us. So,
well, to quickly quote T'Challa from Civil War, when his father passed and he's talking with Romanoff, he says, in my culture, as he puts on the ring, death is not the end. So while this is such a really, sad time for a lot of people, especially the Boseman family and extended friends and colleagues, what have you, for many fans, hopefully Marvel will do the right thing and make good of what product they have and move forward. This isn't the end. So Justin, what do you think we should do to pay tribute to Chadwick, to the Black Panther?
I think the only way we can do that is just to say, rest in peace, Chadwick Boseman. Sorry, I'm not smart. Rest in peace, Chadwick Boseman, and Wakanda forever.
Wakanda forever.
Wakanda forever.
Thanks for watching.